Welcome. You're just seconds away from the Brian Brawdy Show, where listener participation is strongly encouraged. Well, unless, of course, you're easily triggered, then listener discretion is strongly advised. And if you fall into the latter camp, why don't you just mortal up already?
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. It's time to mortal up.
Fired up to be here for our second noon in a row. Welcome to the Brian Brawdy Show, as we call it on the Inside Radio Bri. Thank you so very much. We're going to be talking about Bring Your Own Bold today, and I promised that we were going to jump right to the defense of the New York Post, right? Because I like the New York Post, Wayne. We're going to get to that, but I wanted to share with you a quick story, because whenever I see this hippo, and I think, oh, bring your own bold, because hippos most certainly do. They don't take any crap from anybody. Alligators, snakes, wildebeest, lion. They don't take crap from anybody. They jump right in. They take over whatever waterway they're in or the banks that they're on. And it's a lot like all my times in Yellowstone dealing with the bison. Now, a lot of people think, you see these stories, Wayne, where, this one was taking a selfie with a bison and it gored her, or this family got run down because their car got too close to a bison, or this or that. But the bison, they're just like, right? The bison in Yellowstone, the bison in the Northwest, they're just like hippos in that they run the roost. And a lot of people are surprised to learn, Wayne, that there are a good number of people, more people are injured by bison in Yellowstone than are wolves or grizzly bears. Isn't that amazing?
It sure is.
Yeah, because they're so big and they seem so cuddly and docile, and you think, oh, great. So you and I can still be cuddly and docile. We can look like a manatee, right? But have a temperament when we need to, right? We're not hotheads wrapped in hair lips. We can have a temperament when we need to go all great white, to go all orca on somebody if they mess around with us. So when you're called upon, that's when you bring your own bold. And life most certainly challenges us to call upon, right? To call upon the very best of ourselves, the natural resources, if you will, our authentic vigor, our buried logic, as I call it. But so I digress a little bit. I just wanted to let you know that bison, you don't want to mess with those in Yellowstone. They're just, right? They're big and they're strong and they know what they're doing. Even when I was there in the dead of winter, 40 below zero, a bison comes down the path, you get off. You get into deep snow. You do whatever you can to get away. And I've never confronted a hippo in the wild, right? So I don't know, but I'm told from friends of mine that visit places where the hippos reign, they are a lot like that. They're kind of that temperament. Matter of fact, if I were gonna pick, because you know, Wayne, I've picked my service animal. My emotional support animal is a moose. But I'm told, oh, Bri, you did that all wrong. If you were going to pick an emotional support animal, it should be either a hippo or a bison. So there you go. All right, but I want to jump in today, Wayne. What do you call it? And it's because I promised we would open up the show in defense of our friends at the New York Post. What did you call it this morning in our pre-show meeting? What did you call the Twitter thing?
Tweety for Twitter.
Tweety for Twitter. Could you go ahead and throw that up, please? And then we'll get into that.
Sure thing.
The question begs to be asked. So we will. Twitter, a bird of prey, a voracious raptor, or a little Tweety bird? You make the call. It is. So here's what we're going to do. I promised that in defense of the New York Post, really in defense of you and me, right? Who is Jack Dorsey? Who is Twitter? Who is Marky Mark over at Mug Pamphlet? Who are any of them? Google's getting smacked around this morning by the Department of Justice. But who are any of them to throttle back the way we were, Wayne, just last week when Google was like, oh, no, that sounds a little bit too conspiratorial for me. We're going to shut your feed right down. And they did. So we're rising in defense of not only free speech, but of free ears, your ability to listen, your ability to read, your ability to hear the news that you want to hear. So we're fired up to be doing it. And as promised, the New York Post even went ahead, got the app and everything else. What is the lead story today as we kick off the show? Let me see, Wayne. This means war. President Trump prepares for a showdown with Google as DOJ files an antitrust suit. Wayne, you knew something a little bit about that. Did you tell me just a few minutes ago that Google went ahead and fired another shot across the bow, or I guess returned a counterpunch, if you will?
Well, basically, they be just responding to the challenge.
Oh, there you go. So
Yeah.
they're taking the gauntlet, picking it up, and smacking the DOJ across the face with it. I
Yeah.
get that. That makes sense. All right. The second story, believe it or not, trending on the New York Post is in entertainment. John Stamos volunteers to join the Happy Days reunion as Chachi. This is horrible of me, Wayne. This is really horrible. It has whatever happened to Chachi? Chachi? Is that actor still here? That's not the same actor, is it? No, can't be.
He's still around.
So why isn't Chachi playing Chachi?
I don't know.
Or is that a question like why isn't Kelly McGillis in the next Top Gun?
Wasn't
Right,
that
Maverick? Whatever.
Wasn't that Macchio who played Chachi?
I have no clue. But the actor's still around. So
Yeah.
look at John Stamos going, hey, if Chachi doesn't want it, I'll go ahead and I'll volunteer to do the reunion. Maybe Chachi's out of the country. Maybe he's got something else going on. Oh, maybe he's one of these ones that have threatened that depending upon who wins the election, they were going to move. Maybe Chachi now lives in, I don't know, Buenos Aires. Who knows where Chachi lives? Third story on the New York Post today, as promised, since Twitter's going to go ahead and shut them down, Twitter's not going to allow them to post things, right, all over Hunter Biden, or as we like to call him, Bunter Hyden, so we don't get shut down again. But the Bunter Hyden story, right, Twitter shuts them down. The third story making news, Fauci quotes The Godfather in response to Trump criticisms. So let me get this straight. President Trump throws Fauci under the bus. Fauci throws the president under the bus by calling him the Godfather. Well, this would have been great, Wayne. Let me tell you what it's going to take, right? What it's going to take for us to move this show to the next level. We needed Godfather music right there. See? That's how we could have done it. And reading a New York Post, the Godfather, right? I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. So apparently that's what I know, celebrity impersonations, right? We should do that little thing where all celebrity voices are impersonated in case anyone thought that was Marlon Brando, right? In case I had a Marlon Brando standby. But in any event, there are the top 3 stories. Please, if anybody knows, text us or hop in a little later and let us know what the hell happened to Chachi. Right? It was Chachi loves Joni, right? I think, if I remember. Hello, Miss Putnam. Nice to see you. And Shane. Scott Bio. Thank you so much, Shane. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing great. Shane says it was Scott Bio. So, Shane, do you know, is he still around? Is his agent not picking up the phone? What's going on? Why would you leave the door open? This John Stamos is a damn good-looking guy. I don't know why. If you're Chachi, I'm thinking, I don't know. It's not like the Elephant Man is coming for my post. It's John Stamos, right? Why would you let that guy in the door? So in any event, there we are, Wayne. There, as promised, right before we run to the 10 after mark, as promised, the 3 top stories at the New York Post. Hey, Twitter, try not to be so authoritarian. Try not to burn books, right? Just go ahead and open the New York Post's feed and don't bully them. I don't like bullies, Wayne. I think we've agreed that's what it comes down to. I don't like bullies. And the Twitter is absolutely bullying the New York Post. And listen, whether you agree, whether the story's right or wrong, Shane says he's still around, referring to Scott Bio. No idea why he wouldn't do it. Well, maybe Scott has become a real serious actor now. And he goes, I have to move forward in my craft, right? I can't be going backwards in my acting career. I'm doing Shakespeare well off Broadway in Poughkeepsie, and I can't run the risk of I'm going to feel horrible if it's something else. Right, right. Like I'm going to feel horrible if he's bald and weighs 400 pounds. Chachi, I don't know. I'm going to feel bad. But all right, so there you are. The New York Post, the top 3 stories. Twitter, knock it off already. Stop, 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 stop. All right, Wayne, it's you.
The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent.
All right, so the views expressed. And here's the thing. Sometimes we get viewers, people call in. A friend of mine said the other day, wow, Wayne's doing really good with those live call-ins. Maybe someone will say something that we don't all agree with. So that's a little thing just to keep the folks at Counterpunch Media, our sponsors, Counterpunch Media and Certifiable Brilliance. See how I work that in, Wayne? Or just to keep them happy and to say, look, we need a little bit of a firewall, a little bit of a buffer, which reminds me, I got to give a shout out, right? I got to do this just because not only is it one of my dearest friends in the world who's just has a crafty mind, a cognition, an intellect that if intellects could take steroids, he'd be on them because he's just brilliant. Well, he created this thing called a blender buffer. Now, I know you're thinking, Wayne, you remember the blender buffer. I got up this morning at 3 o'clock, a little earlier than I normally do. I'm normally up by 4 o'clock now with a new call time, but I got up at 3 o'clock this morning, and at 3 o'clock, you wake up the whole house if you try to make yourself something in the blender. So I use the blender buffer. So if you don't know what it is, it's a really cool invention that my good friend created, Paul, over at Blender Buffer. And you sit it down. There's a little lid. You sit it down over the blender, and it just kills all the noise. So before, Wayne, what I used to say to you, I'm heading out to the garage. I'm sitting in the front seat of the car with the door almost pulled shut over the extension cord. I'm in the bathtub with a pillow over it. I would do whatever I can because I cherish those moments alone in the morning. And if I'm busy running the blender, I'm waking up my wife. I'm waking up the kids. Everybody's ticked off at me. Not like ticked off Jeffrey Toobin ticked off, which we'll get to in a minute, but everyone's ticked off. So this morning, as I often do, I got up early, and thanks to Paul and the blender buffer, I was able to make my cup of coffee, which I still need. I love it. I was able to make my cup of coffee in the blender. I blend in some butter. It's very top secret stuff that I blend in to my drink, but it helps me help everyone else stay asleep. So, Paul, if you're listening, thank you very much. Again, I thought of you this morning because 3 o'clock, there just would have been hell to pay if I woke up the whole household. So that's that. All right, Wayne, I don't want to run too behind today because we have a lot to get to. Why don't we go ahead and launch the next segment? Lowlifes making headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today.
Too late.
Can I tell you why? I'm conflicted. So, our lowlife making headlines for today. When we talk about brains that make your blood boil, just his idea about how to get through life has made my blood boil listening to him over at Circus News Network, right? Almost as bad as C-Scam. But here's the thing. I feel really conflicted. And I went back and forth, and I didn't call you because, you put some effort into these slides. Obviously, it takes some work to get that done. And you had already loaded the lowlifes making headlines for today, Jeffrey Toobin. And I felt really bad because, can I tell you why I felt really, and it's a character flaw. I tend to try to find the good in people no matter what, with a few exceptions. I tend to want to find the good in people. And you know why I'm sort of why this is hard for me today to make Jeffrey Toobin. He's still going to get his certificate. We're still going to send it out, right? I'm not an idiot, although you can't spell Brian without the I in idiot. Do you know why I like with Steve Scully, no problem making him a lowlife making headlines. None. But you know why, Wayne? I feel half and half, right? I don't even want to say it a lot of times. But you know why that is?
Why is that?
Because he didn't blame someone else. Now, let me get this straight. Jeffrey Toobin is on a Zoom conference call, right? on a Zoom conference call, isn't aware that the camera's still on or the audio isn't on or this or that. I don't know. I don't know the particulars. I wasn't there, thank God. I wasn't there. But the boy decides to throw one in the mitt. and right? He's an expert at legal briefs, not at loose boxers. Right? So he gets caught on camera when he comes back, throwing one in the mitt. And he didn't blame someone else. He could have said, oh, my computer was hacked. Oh, my son. Right? He could have done what he could to throw someone else under the bus. Like what's the guy's name? The FBI guy, like Comey, James Comey, or the Steve guy from C-Scam, blaming hackers, blaming someone else. But he didn't, right? So my question is, what was going on this conference call before he decided, right? I mean, just what are you doing in a business conference call where something's being discussed? You go, wow, I don't know about you, but there's a bad moon rising, right? What goes on in these calls? Shane says the Happy Days reunion is supposed to be benefiting, donating money to the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. Bio is a big-time Republican, so that's why he won't join the reunion. All right, Wayne, it's time for me to make an apology. I now know, Shane, thank you very much, Scott Bio, right, is not going to do the reunion out of principle. God love him. So he's big, according to Shane, he's big in the Republican Party. Thank you, Shane, very much. He's big in the Republican Party and decided he won't do it, which makes me wonder about, what's his name, Stamos, but there you go. So that's why I won't do it. Shane, thank you very much. And Chachi, if you're listening, please accept my apology. That's why you're not doing it. Good on you, brother. If it's that kind of principle. And no, he's not doing an off Shakespeare play in Poughkeepsie, apparently. It's in Madison, Wisconsin, I guess. I don't know. But in any event, Wayne, that's why I'm having a hard time today with lowlifes making headlines. I even wanted to throw him in under jousting with journalists, right? Because I don't know. I think it's a strange guy that doesn't admit, right? But he didn't throw anyone else under the bus.
No, but you got to remember, he's not a journalist either.
Well, he's on Circus News Network. He writes for a paper.
As a legal analyst or consultant.
Tomato. They're all the same thing, right? Anymore, at least in the news.
Yeah.
I would think. So, at least, but now here's the thing, and here's where I kind of was like, the hell with it, just let it go. I said before that Steve Scully is a lowlife making headlines simply because he doesn't know the difference in this day and age between a direct message and a public tweet. Right?
It's true.
And I'm going to teach you a lesson, Wayne, that I learned years ago. A good friend of mine, Michael Morrow, he used to put duct tape over the red light on the camera. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He used to put that because he said, Bri, your material is so much better when you don't think you're on camera. When you just start an open riff and you think you're killing time till the crew's ready, hysterical. And so he used to put a little piece of tape and he'd say, hey, what are you going to talk about when the camera goes on? And I would do the riff. And more times than not, we never got to shoot the actual commercial because he goes, no, that's perfect. Let's just do that. But in this day and age, they have these little metal slide things. When you're not on camera, slide that little chiclet piece of tinfoil over and block your camera. Who doesn't know? It's like these politicians. There was another one caught today, open mic. Weren't you telling me, Wayne? I think in the beginning someone said, hey, we're going to do whatever we can to get this. There's a Democratic politician somewhere, Wayne. You were telling me that, and in an open mic, said to former Vice President Biden, we're going to do whatever we can to get this sex maniac across the finish line.
Yep.
Right? So who doesn't know now? Direct messages are different than public tweets. Always make sure you cover the camera when you're done. Always make sure you cover the camera when you're done. and every microphone is hot, right? Every microphone is hot. All right, Wayne, what do we got to do?
Portions of this broadcast have been pre-recorded.
Why? Because you can't get these people to hit a call time. They're the worst. Nah, I'm just kidding. We love our guests. All right, so a little bit of breaking news. Wayne, thank you very much. I take it that's not you singling wing sauce.
Nope, it's me saying break.
We got to show sometime pictures of the studios and everything else. Okay, but I have a little bit of breaking news. You know how much I love breaking news, right?
This is scary.
This is scary, right? But Joe Rogan, you know, just a great guy. And what I dig about him is he doesn't care what anyone thinks. All the little pantyweights over at Spotify are going to burn down the house because they don't get to edit his podcast. I'm getting it across the wire now that Rogan shows on hold after positive test. So not Joe Rogan. It says a Joe Rogan staff member has tested positive for COVID-19, forcing Rogan to pause production of his popular podcast. Rogan cut an Instagram video letting fans know he tested negative, but would be staying home away from everyone until he's sure he's in the clear. So a little bit of breaking news. A staff member on Joe Rogan show. Wayne, I think you and I have been tested. We've been tested, haven't we?
Not me.
Not you? Oh, you know what my test is? Do you know how I know I'm negative?
How do you know you're negative?
Because I donate blood to the American Red Cross. And if you donate blood, they send you a little email after the fact going, hey, just so you know, your test came back negative.
Well, yeah, but that's good for that day. The next day, you never know.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true, right? Which, can I be honest?
No,
look,
you can't.
With all due, let me just say this. There's way too many people on the roads. Right? When you get up first thing in the morning, there shouldn't be traffic at intersections. I remember back in the day in March when all this first broke, you could drive 90 to get to the grocery store, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one was out. No, you didn't have to wait for people to make a right on red. It's like people put these masks on inside their car when they're driving, and it's as if they have one of those bubbles like they used to wear in Lost in Space when I was little growing up. They just have a bubble on them. You pull up to a red light, right? It's right on red. Right on red. You don't stop for 2.5 minutes for the light to turn green. It's right on red. And since you asked, Wayne, since we're talking about this, another thing about vehicle and traffic laws that always grabs me. Tell me if you know anything about this. When you come up to a traffic circle, now, I don't remember. Do they have them? Do you Michiganders? Alyssa Milano calls them, Gretchen Whitmer, your governor, calls them Michiganders. Do you have traffic circles in Michigan?
Absolutely.
Oh, so you have roundabouts. You know
Yep.
what they are. All right. So when you have two lanes going into and coming out of a roundabout, the inside lane is for the roundabout.
Mm-hmm.
The outside lane is for you to get the hell out of my way so I can get through the roundabout, right? The outside lane, you're supposed to go to the outside. How do these people get driver's licenses? It's amazing to me. Did you have to take a test to get your license? Learn the rules of the road. When you pull up and there's a double lane going in, the outside lane goes outside. You don't have to stop. You don't have to slam on the brakes. Go, go, go. But back in the day when all this first broke, Wayne, there was nobody out, right? You could go over to your favorite Stop and Rob for a Diet Coke, as you know I do, about mid-morning. You could go over, and there was nobody in line, right? Supermarkets were busy putting all these 6-foot, you got to stand 6 feet down wind of these people and this and that, right? They were busy putting stickers all over the floor. There was no one there. You'd walk in, you have 6 sets of stickers to yourself. Now people are everywhere. And it's like they all got somewhere to be. Just saying. Anyone, right? But not Joe Rogan. He's going to hunker down now, letting fans know he'll be staying away from everyone until he knows He's okay. Well, good for him and good for the staff member. Uh, good for his staff member to be hunkered down. Let's wish them the very best. Hopefully, they recover very quickly. All right, Wayne, what else is going on in your world? I know we're going to run to the bottom hour here in just a bit. Open the phone lines, open the text lines if anyone wants to call us. But what's new in Michigan today?
Really not much. It's been pretty quiet.
Oh, wow. Very nice, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Weather's good. Everything else is good.
Everything's good. A little chilly, but everything's good.
All right. So where were you? You know, everyone wants to remember where they were when this happened, when that happened. I'm seeing now this just across the Post's expose on Bunter Hyden soars online despite social media censorship. So there's a kudos to you, Wayne, right? It soars online. Remember back in the day, Wayne, where you used to post videos? If a video was taken down, we should go back to doing that, where you used to post videos. If nobody else would touch a video, you would put it up so that people could come to our site, come to the BryanBrody.associates site and actually see the video.
Yeah.
Remember those days? There you go. So again, for all the people that want to call and critique negatively, I'm not saying whether the Hunter Biden story, the Bunter Hyden story, excuse me, I misspoke, whether it's true or false. All I'm simply suggesting is that giant tech, mainstream media, right? Whatever you call these social media platforms, you know, with their liability shields running around, they shouldn't have the right to decide what you get to hear, what you get to read. They're just like book burners, right? They didn't want you to read a book way back when. What did they do? They burned the books. We can have this idea getting out. Well, how is it any different today? If you think you jump ahead, Wayne, how is it any different?
Well,
Today's books are social media. It's just like burning them. You're shutting down discourse.
well, the interesting part about this Twitter New York Post issue is I was reading an article yesterday, and basically they're saying that more people know about the Hunter Biden story because Twitter blocked the New York Post. And the
That's
news
good
that
to
it's
know.
making.
Yeah. I think that's a great, I think that's just, you know what, good for them.
Yeah.
It's like, right, methink thou dost protest too much. Right?
Yeah.
And if anyone's going to recover, Steve Scully from C-Scam or Jeffrey Toobin from the Circus News Network, Toobin's going to recover quicker from it. It's just because it was he came out, apologized, said it was my bad. Now you could say, I didn't know the camera was on. I didn't know the call hadn't ended. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. I felt like watching George Costanza in the old Seinfeld thing when he was busy rolling around with the maid and his boss called him in and George says, I got to call foul here. Was that wrong?
Well,
Right?
I'll tell you what, I think Toobin, he's going to get over it in the public side, but I think he's got more problems. What I'm reading, he's got more problems with his wife than anybody.
Well, the poor thing. Can't you imagine? Now, who knows? Maybe, who knows? Maybe he has a life-size poster of his wife in the room. Maybe there's some way to recover from this. I don't know. But my point is, before we run to the bottom of the hour, he's going to recover because he didn't blame somebody else. He goes, it was a stupid, embarrassing mistake.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Not Steve Scully trying to blame hackers. Not Tim Conway. What's his name? James Comey. Tim Conway. Same thing. James Comey. Sorry, Tim Conway. No offense intended. James Comey saying, oh, it was people under me. Or a former low-life making headlines winner, Governor Andrew Cuomo, saying it wasn't my fault. It was the people in the nursing home. Right? Nobody wants to take responsibility. Everybody else wants to blame somebody else. Right? I guess that's what you got to do. That's the pedigree you get if you want to be a politician. Never accept blame. Blame it on somebody else. So all these pundits. Oh, you know what else? Okay, Wayne, let's do this. Let's run to the bottom of the hour. We'll open up the phone lines when we get back, and then I'll tell you somebody else Twitter blocked down, I just heard, was blocked down because they shared this story. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Bryan Brawdy Show. Why? Because you know the truth when you hear it. He'll be right back.
welcome back to the Brian Brawdy Show, brought to you by our good friends at Counterpunch Media and Certifiable Brilliance. It's time to buckle up. Welcome back to the show. This just in, 34 million people have already voted. Who knows how many of them are actually registered, how many of them were actually alive, but 34 million have already voted. All right, Wayne, let's do let me thank our sponsors very quickly. Counterpunch Media for certain, and also Certifiable Brilliance. We'll be talking a little more. We've got some other things coming up next week, but we'll be talking a little more about each of them. And one last shout out to my good friend Paul and the people at Blender Buffer. It makes my life so much smoother when I can get up. You know what it is, Wayne? I get a good 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours of work in before everybody else is running around screaming here. So Blender Buffer affords me that luxury. So Paul, if you're still with us, thank you very much. All right, Wayne, let's go ahead and get this party started.
The phone lines are open. Now's your chance to mortal up and give Brian a shout, because your opinion deserves to be heard. Dial toll-free 1-833-MORTAL-1. That's 833-MORTAL-1.
All right, we're back. Don't forget, 833-667-8251, 833-667-8251. If you're into the numerology of it, you can give us a call. You can give us a text. I'm seeing across the wire here, there's just a few days left. The betting markets are saying it's still Joe, and Biden overtakes Trump as the Twitter king. So now both of the president and a potential president are busy running Twitter, but Twitter is busy shutting down the opposition. And I said this right before we went to the show. Give us a call, give us a text. We're damn glad to have you. I said right before we go, do you know who else? The new young gun over at QVC for Conservatives. What is it? Not Sirius. What's it called? Oh, Salem Radio News Network, whatever that's called. I call it QVC for Conservatives. Everybody there apparently has a MyPillow and drinks, I don't know, eats some kind of crushed vitamin every day. But like, you can't listen to that show without a commercial every 10 minutes, it seems. But you know who else got their Twitter account blocked because they put up something about Bunter Hyden?
Who's that?
Charlie Kirk, one of the guys we're going up against head on, right? Because he's going live now at noon. I dig the challenge. I got to tell you, I really do. But his Twitter account has been blocked. So now, who's laughing now? It was a pretty good idea to come up with that Bunter Hyden thing, right? Twitter's algorithm hasn't figured that out yet, I don't imagine. Do you?
Probably.
Oh, you think they have? Oh, all right. Well, it wasn't that great of an idea then, but we're still going to keep doing it. So, you know what? Something else I find interesting, Wayne, another report that I'm just getting, gun sales are through the roof here in the United States. All the calls to defund the police, all the uncertainty going on in the world, everything. Now they're saying gun sales are soaring everywhere, even in California. Wayne, what say you?
I got my new one.
That's right. You sure did. I'm so jealous. I really am. Let me see. Here's another one. Record number of sharks off of the Southern California coast. So if you live in Southern California and you want to give us a holler, that would be great. Russian bombers are buzzing Alaska. Well, that's not breaking news. There's nothing new there. So there's all kinds of things going on in the world today, including China saying to their troops, Wayne, you better get ready. We're going to be invading Taiwan.
Yep.
Boy,
China's also threatening to start arresting Americans in China.
Oh, good thing I've been there, done that. Right? Good thing I've already been. That way I don't have to worry about it. Right? We get kidnapped everywhere else around the world. Shane says, in this day and age, if you don't assume that there's a camera on or a mic on, it's your own fault. Shane, that's all I'm saying, right? That's all I'm saying, is that everyone is being recorded now, even if it's a cell phone camera, Everyone's being recorded. Let me take a quick opportunity with the phone lines open. Let me thank the viewers over at YouTube, most certainly mortalup.com. Everyone that takes in the show over there, thank you. For the people that watch on Spitter, the Blue Bubbleverse, thank you very much. And also here on Facebook. Now, if you happen to catch the rebroadcast of the show, thank you for listening on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, all the usual suspects. Thank you so very much for making us one of the fastest growing shows. Our numbers keep going up. And as I say all the time, it's because of you. It's because, well, let me say this way. It's not only, as you know, because of the listeners and the viewers, but can I tell you what I'm really excited about for doing a noontime show now?
What are you really excited about?
Really excited about Virtual Hitchhiker, right? Because people can go over to mortalup.com. People can go over to radiobry.com. Or, right, if you know how to spell Brian Brawdy and Associates, you can go over there. But you literally can go over on your phone. And because of Wayne's brilliance, you just go hit radiobry.com. A player will pop up, and you can get the show live there. So if you're one of the masses like us out working, running around, maybe you're driving a UPS truck, maybe you're driving some other kind of truck, maybe you're outside working, maybe you don't get to lock down like Joe Rogan, right? You got to be up and out and moving around. One of the nice things about being a virtual hitchhiker is you can pick us up and take it with you, right? You can grab the show on your phone, Wayne, as you know. You can pick up the show on the phone and take us wherever you're driving. Probably make it it might be a challenge to have you call in. Maybe you need 2 phones, which would have been a great place to insert our new commercial for Samsung. The new Samsung. I have no clue what I'm talking about. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
I actually have it in my car.
You have it in your car? See? Oh, you can listen in your car as well. There you go. So all I'm suggesting is the virtual hitchhiker, we get to ride along with you. Not a lot of people out driving around at 8 o'clock at night, I got to tell you, Wayne. So that's why I'm so excited when it comes to talking Mortal Up. When it comes to talking all things you, what better way to do it than when us regular folks are out and about crushing it, doing what we can to survive? I think it's great. Scientists discover a mysterious new organ in the head. Is that a head of human beings? Scientists just discovered a mysterious organ. Lurking in the center of the human head. See, this is where I have to be careful, Wayne, because this just begs to do comedy.
I know. I'm going to have to get that tone going.
Yeah, to get that tone going. Just start it now as I read through this whole thing. Oh, now you're finding that somebody has an empty space in the middle of their head. Well, there's science for you. Everyone's screaming science. We know that's good. You're welcome. Well, Paul, thank you so very much. I super appreciate it. I really do. It's one of those things. Paul says, you're welcome, Paul. Thank you very much. And let me just tell you a quick little thing about Paul. He's the kind of guy, he'll come over to your house and you'll catch him sitting looking at something. He'll be looking at a refrigerator or an oven or this or that, and he'll go, I think I could take that apart and engineer something that would make it work more efficiently. The guy's just brilliant. And he can lift a small brick house. Right? He's like physically and mentally just brilliant. So, Paul, thank you very much for the blender buffer. I use mine every day. And he sent me a real nice little one, Wayne. I'll bring it down to the studio to show you sometime. He sent me a nice little blender that fits inside of the blender buffer. And it says #MortalUp. He had that done just for me. So thank you very much. Jeremiah, thank you so much for listening. Nice to have you. Just getting a text. Thank you for joining us at mortalup.com. We were just talking about that. Out and about, running around. We're thrilled. We're fired up that you can take us with you. Wouldn't you say, Wayne?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
We're trying to make it as easy as possible.
Try to make it as easy as possible. I'm absolutely with you. Absolutely with you. Right? Because in the battle between the maniacs and the masses, those of us trying to make a living, I don't think we get enough credit. I think the 1% grabs all the credit. You know what I mean, Wayne?
Yeah.
I think they grab all the credit and we don't get anything. All right, Wayne, I know you need it back for a minute. Go ahead. So the phone lines are tied up, are they? Well, you're welcome to leave us a message. And because your voice deserves to be heard, we just might play the recording on air. So sit up straight, take a deep breath, belt it out, and let us know what you're thinking. All right, well, here's another. I promise we will never tape a video call. right?
Are
So
you
if you're
sure?
thinking, yeah, oh, you have my word. We will never tape a video call because we don't want you sitting around going, I think I just got Toobined, right? People need to know the truth, damn it. And the truth is, if you leave a voicemail, it'll never be a video call, right? I'm drawing the line in the sand right now. It will never be a video call. So keep the sound effects to yourself, right? Maybe keep the volume turned down. But yeah, call us. And if the phone lines are busy, we might use your audio on air. You never can tell. Yes, thank you very much for the text. We are having a blast, and we're fired up to say hello to the people over at Twitter. We call it Spitter, right? It's not against you guys. It's just like Wayne, when I talk about, the Chinese government is going to start arresting Americans. I know a lot of people that live in China that are just great, caring, compassionate people, right? It's not the people. So when I badmouth Twitter, I'm badmouthing Jack Dorsey and some of the book burners he has working. Oh, I'm sorry. It's politically correct to call them fact checkers, right? Some of the book burners he has over there at Twitter. I'm not picking a fight with everyone on Twitter. I'm just picking the fight, just like you. I don't pick a fight with people in China. I'm picking the fight, right? People go the other day, well, don't you feel bad when you say the Wuhan wheeze? No, I don't feel bad when I say the Wuhan wheeze at all. I'm not picking a fight with the people of China. I'm picking a fight with the Communist Party. Always wanting to throw somebody under the bus. All these people, well, we're going to make it a law. We're going to do everything we can to suggest that you're not allowed to buy bats anymore at wet markets in Wuhan. Except these people are trying to eat. They're trying to feed their families. They're just like the masses. Don't be blaming the people at the market that bit the head off a bat. Don't be blaming the Chinese version, culturally appropriating Ozzy Osbourne. It's the government's fault. So when we say, oh, we're in a war against Twitter, it's against Jack Dorsey. When we say, hey, we're in a war with Mug Pamphlet, it's a war with Marky Mark. And again, some of his book burners. Not the people in and of itself. Just wanted to make that cleared it up. Todd, yes, thank you for listening. Super appreciate it. Wayne, you're going to love this. Todd's working on the new logo. So maybe we'll show that in the days ahead if Todd gets it, finishes up here pretty quickly. But we're very excited about that. So
when do I get to see it?
Pardon me?
When do I get to see it?
I don't know. I'm wondering the same thing. Let's just see. Hey, Todd, when do we get to see? It hasn't come in yet, but it will. You can look. If Todd says it'll happen, it'll happen. He'll get it to us, and then the very next day we'll show it on air. We're very excited about it. So, Todd, thank you very much, and thank you for listening. Also, another shout out to Jeremiah. Thank you, brother. Sorry I missed you over the weekend. Look forward to catching up whenever you can. All right, Wayne, I know we're getting ready to do Mortal Up, but I wanted just to throw the mic open to you and see, is there anything else going on? Anything that I forgot to mention? Anything newsworthy that you want to touch on?
Well, heck no. You've been pretty much keeping up with the news as we're going on.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I just want to make sure there wasn't something special. Like after the show, you go, oh, I really wish you would have shut up long enough for me to say this. Like, oh, breaking news. France vows to root out extremism. Right?
Yeah.
I think that might have something to do with that French teacher being beheaded.
I don't know. You're talking
Just
France.
I don't know. You never can tell what's going on, right? I'm just saying. So let me see. What else do we say? Let me just comment on this. Frank Luntz, who's the pollster. And then I want to get a couple extra minutes into Mortal Up because I'm fired up about it today. But Frank Luntz is the pollster. You know, the guy you see on TV from time to time that goes, oh, this moved the meter. Oh, that moved the meter. Oh, this was great. This red lines picked up, blue lines dropped, blue lines picked up, red lines dropped. You know where I'm going with this. So Luntz is now blasting the Trump campaign as the worst he's ever seen. And I got to tell you, right, you wonder about some of the handlers going, how could you have made that decision? But now, Wayne, is it not true? The morning after the first presidential debacle, what was it? 6 o'clock in the morning, I was on the phone with you.
Yeah.
And what did I suggest that they needed to do to keep these two brainiacs in line? What did I suggest to you? Bright and early. Sun wasn't even up. I was walking in the dark.
Shut
what
off the
did I
mics.
suggest you? I'm sorry?
Shut off the mics?
Shut off the mics. You needed a kill switch. Well, I said that, but I also said they should reach out to Invisible Fence and see if they could get one of those shocking dog collars.
That'd be better.
Well, it would be hysterical, wouldn't it? Every time they got out of line, you just zap them. Zzz. But here's the thing. When you want to elect politicians that are 70, 75, going on 80 years old, maybe you don't want to zap them, right? Maybe the dog collar of mine wasn't necessarily a good idea. Shane says mute the mics. All right, so he's sticking with that idea. Mute the mics. Thank you, Shane. Right? Because I've been zapped with one of those dog collars, and you can really feel it. You ever been zapped with a dog collar, Wayne?
Yeah.
Weren't you surprised? Kind of like peeing on an electric fence. Now, there I go, Jeffrey Toobin all again.
Yeah.
Right? Weren't you surprised how much it kind of stung?
Yeah, and I decided not to put it on my dog anymore.
You're such a good guy, Wayne. Would you give it to your son? You wear it to him when he's late?
I
Doesn't
thought
park
about
the
it.
car in the right place in the driveway. You gave it to him instead. Put it
I
on
thought
him.
about it.
All right, give us a call, 833-MORTAL, and the numeral 1. Give us a call. Let us know what you're up to. All right, so no dog collar. We don't have a dog collar either. We just voice command, right? Because it really does leave a mark. And maybe that's why the debate moderators, they listened to me when we said, oh, we should mute their mics. Shane says it would be fun to see the dog collar, though. Wouldn't it, though? Chris, who was the guy? Chris Matthews. I think he was bounced, too, wasn't he, Wayne?
Yep.
Chris Matthews is no longer at MSNBC. Ya. He got bounced, too. But remember when he had that warm, tingly feeling running down his leg?
Oh, Barack did the trick for him.
Oh, Barack did the trick for him. Well, this would be
He
great.
went a little further. He went a little further than Toobin.
He went a little... Shane said it would be fun to see. Maybe that's what happened to Chris Wallace. He had one of those dog shock collars on. I don't know. It could happen. Never can tell. All right, Wayne, why don't we go ahead and run to my favorite segment, our closing segment here on the Brian Brawdy Show. Before we start thanking everyone, why don't we go ahead and run to our final segment? It's time to tune out the herd, because everything you've ever needed, you've always had. So bring your own bold and let's go mortal up. So here we go. Bring your own bold, tying it back into the hippos and the rhinos and the bison and all the rest. You and I both know we're going to get through all the craziness that is the countdown to this election. And I did see 50 Cent came out today and endorsed, if he didn't so much endorse President Trump over former Vice President Biden, he goes, look, it's just the tax plan. I can't afford to, I won't be able to make it work under the Biden tax plan. But here's the thing.
He says
you
he
and I
refuses to pay 65%.
Well, can I ask a question, Wayne? You're a lot smarter than I am. Can I just pose a quick question?
Shoot.
What the hell are these people thinking? Right? What I just don't understand. I get that you hate Trump. I get it. But you'd bring down 65% tax rate on yourself just to prove a point?
He basically says that he's not about to agree to a 65%.
It's unbelievable to me. So even though that said, since we're going into the Mortal Up segment, you and I will square our shoulders with whatever happens. And we'll rise to the occasion. Because that's what we're all about. That's the brilliance of having a human mind. That when we don't second guess ourselves, when we're not busy buying into our own mashugana, when we're not busy buying into our own sense of static, when we pay attention to the moment at hand, it gives us the ability to use our natural resources. But what I think's happened, Wayne, is people, their sense of apathy, even amnesia, has led them to believe that their skill set, their ability to handle anything fate throws at them, they've begun to believe that it's dead. And I'm here to say it's not dead. It may be dormant. It may have atrophied, like a broken leg from skiing in a cast. Your muscle kind of deteriorates, and you have to work it back up. right? Can't take the cast off and hit a triple black diamond. Although I could never, with or without a cast, I could never hit a triple black diamond. That'd be for my wife. I still go to the Kitty Hills whenever. I got to tell you, Wayne, I love it. Hit the Kitty Hill, right to the hot tub. I don't have to bomb around mountains and carrying on. I save that for the people a lot better at skiing than I am. You know, like 7 years old on up. Those kind of people, a lot better than I am. Reminds me of the black belts in China that were 7 years old and they would just mop the floor with you. Right? So I leave all that for the skiing experts 8 and older. But the thing is, even if it's atrophy, you still have the ability to trigger, to bring your own bold. You still have the ability to build that mental strength and stamina. Right? If it's go time for your grit, once you decide. Now, we've talked about before 20-minute victories, but I wanted to throw this in today. When people go, I don't know, uphill battle, got a lot to do. All I've ever suggested is for 20 minutes. And 20 minutes, Wayne, as you know, works out to be 1/72, 1/72. 72 times a day, you're subject to a 20-minute victory. And for 20 minutes, if you put aside that amnesia, if you put aside that apathy, for 20 minutes a day, if you tap your natural resources, if you tap your authentic vigor, and if you get to the end of the 20 minutes and you're like, oh man, that was backbreaking, I can't do that again. Great. Still 1/72 of your day, you moved in that direction. It's progressive adaptation. If Paul is still on, he knows all about it. Shane knows all about it from cycling in the mountains. I'm sure Jeremiah knows about it. Progressive adaptation. You build a muscle. You can't learn how to do a push-up and then tomorrow morning expect to do 150 of them. You can't learn how to throw a punch and then get up the next day, start the timer at 10 minutes and keep the boxing gloves moving no matter what. You have to progressively adapt. And I know people are going to be thinking, I can't believe you said the word progressive. Yeah, not that kind of progressive. Shane says 20 minutes is still all I can ride on my bike for these days. But that's my bringing it. Absolutely, Shane. But here's the thing. I promise you, brother, as you know, you're probably already experiencing it. By Friday, you'll go, you know what? I'm going to go for 5 more minutes. Right? And before you know it, you'll be doing 20 milers, bombing down the hill, carrying on like a crazy man. I know that about you. And the same goes when you mortal up, when you progressively adapt your mindset. And it may be, right? I was talking to a friend the other day and I go, if you're not outnumbered, severely outnumbered, if you're not outgunned by a superior fighting force, why even get up off the couch? But if you do, and you use a 20-minute victory as your guide, you might get to 19 minutes and go, oh man, I can't do this again. I got to be done with a 20-minute victory. Or you might go, wow, I wonder if I can glue. I wonder if I can string together. I wonder if I can meld together 2 20-minute victories. And you go for 40 minutes, giving yourself permission, right? This is how, like, you remember the book, Wayne, Machiavellian's book, The Prince?
Yeah.
Everyone goes, oh, it was a how-to guide for evil people. No, it wasn't at all. If that's what you think about Machiavelli's The Prince, then you never read the book. It's a guide about how to meet them at their own game. So you and I, right, very Machiavellian, we need to meet our mind at its own game of laziness and apathy and simply say to the mind, who in the end is doing.
Oh, shit.
Servant. It's trying to protect you. And you say to your mind, look, give me 20 minutes. Go take a break. Go watch Oprah. Go, I don't think the Vikings are back on still. Go watch your favorite show. Just give me 20 minutes. If I can't do it in 20 minutes, I'll come back here and sit on the couch. And I've never found my mind. I've never found my mind that wouldn't buy into that and let it happen. So when it comes time to mortal up, when it comes time to bring your own bold, you can do it 20 minutes at a time. And I promise you, before too long, you'll be stringing together hours Your hour will be 3 20-minute victories, and you'll be, as we used to say, you'll be cooking with Crisco. And that's our Mortal Up Minute for today. All right, so a little more than a minute, I guess, though, Wayne, huh? A little more than I wanted to, but it's important to me.
6.
It was at 6, really? Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. So what I should do is we should do Mortal Up as a 20-minute victory. That'll get your goat. All right, in the closing minutes, let me once again thank everyone that hung out here today. If you listened on Twitter, thank you very much. If you listened at mortalup.com, Radio Bry, BrianBrawdy.associates, thank you so very much for that. If you are listening over on YouTube, Wayne, and we say this all the time, Wayne, please let me know if anyone has a comment, as we do on Twitter. Anyone has a comment on YouTube, just grab the mic and let it rip. But thank you all so very much for watching over on YouTube. Wayne does a great job, works after the show to get all the audio together, to get all the video together. So if you're listening to a rebroadcast on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on iTunes, thank you so very much for all the support. We truly appreciate it. If you don't mind, if I could ask a quick favor. Talking about support, if you like what you've heard, especially now that we're new at Noons, could you maybe share a link to the show? If you're on YouTube, could you hit that little bell? I'm told, Wayne, if you hit that bell up in the corner, I guess on our videos, there's a little bell. If you hit on that bell, I promise you we will never email you. But what will happen is every time we go live with another episode of the Brian Brawdy Show, every time we go live, you get a notification. If you follow us here on Facebook, on the Brian Brawdy Mortal Up page. Oh, Wayne, speaking of that, any update from Mug Pamphlet as to whether when they're finally going to grace us?
Nada.
Still nada.
Nada.
Just the sound of crickets. God love them.
And by the way, to subscribe on YouTube, it's just the red arrow.
Oh, is that all it is? A
right
red arrow.
corner.
Thank you. Yeah. So if you subscribe on YouTube, when we go live, right at noon-ish, about noon, sometimes like 30 seconds afterwards. It all depends. Sometimes Wayne and I get talking and we go, oh my God, it's after 12. Let's get going. Right? So if you hit that little red arrow, that will allow you to subscribe. Also on Twitter, you can follow us as it says on the screen. Facebook is at Brian Brawdy Official, as you know, and at Twitter at BrianBrawdy.com. But thank you all so very much. Thank you to our sponsors, Certifiable Brilliance, and of course, Counterpunch Media. And as always, I want to thank Wayne. We could not do this show. In addition to the sponsors, we couldn't do the show if it weren't for all the behind-the-scenes work that goes into it long before the camera ever goes on. So, Wayne, thank you very much. As always, any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Not for me.
Not from you.
Got
no
your back.
wontons today for lunch?
What was that?
No bowl of wontons today for lunch?
No wonton soup today for lunch.
No wonton soup. Okay. I don't know how. We'll talk about a 20-minute victory. I don't know how you get through it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, friends and foes, right? Because we know there's some foes trolling. We get the emails. Every so often we go in and read them. If it's from a foe, we know who's out there. Thank you so very much for whatever reason. Whether you're going to share it or whether you're going to pick a fight, thank you so very much for joining us for what was episode 525 of the Brian Brawdy Show. Wayne, we are out of here.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up.